Hello, bakers. My name's Mark Floerke. I'm the Baked in Science podcast host for Bakerpedia, and this is your Wisdom Wednesday. Today, I want to speak to you a little bit more about using spreadsheets in your product development work to help gain information. We've talked a little bit about a spreadsheet to just adjust batch sizes. We've done a costing sheet. And we've talked about the different aspects of a multiple test product development sheet. And today, I want to talk to you about estimating your nutritional information. Now, I want to disclaimer here is that these are approximate calculations. You cannot use these for labeling purposes. You would still need to validate it, but it helps you in product development while you're formulating to kind of see, are you going to be in that fiber, protein, calories, whatever the thing that you're trying to accomplish, are you going to get in that neighborhood? Are you achieving something? You still have to work with a lab or a supplier who can do validated nutritional data for you if you need to put it on a label. Because generally speaking, I do not believe FDA accepts Excel calculations. Now, the data I'm going to be using today is from the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA website. They have a page where you can look up thousands of different ingredients and food items. If you're really into geeky computer stuff, you can actually even download the database and decipher it and things like that. But I think that's rather time consuming. It is a database that other companies use, such as ESHA. A lot of people are familiar with a program called Genesis, and there are others out there like that. But they are quite expensive, and most people have some version of a spreadsheet. I'm using Microsoft Excel that you can do some of the basic calculations with and simplify it. And so I'm going to share my screen with you to show you the Excel worksheet and go over that briefly so you can see how this has been set up. And you can email me to get a copy of it, or I will check with our Director of Operations if we can actually have it on our Bakerpedia website for download. We'll see what happens there. So let's go to the Excel sheet now. So this is the Excel sheet as set up. I've hidden the ribbon here right now so that you can see more of the sheet. And the way I've set this up with some conditional formatting, that you can see all the cells that are green are the areas where you should be entering information. Everything else, you don't want to enter information, because as you can see, if you click on one of the white cells, you could see there are formulas there. And we don't want to delete or erase, alter those formulas, because they are what make this whole thing work. So you can, of course, put the name of your recipe up in here. Important things are the unit weight, in other words, the size of your product, and understanding, determining your moisture loss. That's something we talked about on the previous sheet where you can get that information. But that is basically how much of the weight of the product has been lost in percent from the baking process. It's a lot of times it's in the 10 to 12% neighborhood. Some specialty products are less or more. And so you want to check that to make sure you have that, because that concentrates the values. As you take water out, the nutrition goes up. Okay, so let me populate this for you so you can see what it looks like with information entered. And then I'll get to some more of the background of what makes this work. So here you can see I've populated this for you with the ingredients. You can see I've listed a whole bunch of ingredients and the amount of each ingredient that I'm using in this formula. Now you can see there are a bunch of errors here. There's errors here. and there's zeros everywhere else. Okay, so let's get to that. So the errors here are under the column called Baker's percent. That is because in this spreadsheet, we need to tell the spreadsheet where is the flour, which ingredient is flour or multiple ingredients that I need to calculate my Baker's percent on. So we have bread flour and whole wheat flour, and there's the column for flour. So we want to put an X in the whole wheat flour and an X in the bread flour, and you can see, voila, it calculates that all, and you have a total formula percent here as well. Okay, now we still have all zeros over here, and we still have this error here. I'm going to deal with the error here first so that we can also sort out the background for you on where this information is coming from. So to calculate the nutrition information, you need to know all of the information for each of these ingredients. By all of the information, I mean the things up here on the header here. Energy, total fat, saturated fat, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, omega-3, omega-6. Those are not obligatory. You do have to show them if they are present, but they often are zero or blank, right? And then there's total carbohydrate, and of course there is the remaining items as well, all the way over here to calcium. Now, I've only gone this far. There are many other minerals and vitamins you can include, but there's a lot of rules around displaying that, so I won't get into those. These are the basics here, okay? And so where does this come from? Well, you'll see down here 2 tabs. If I go down to the bottom left of the sheet, and one says template, which is this template, and one says nutrition data. And so nutrition data is where the data is stored that this sheet is looking for it. So if I click under energy here, for example, you can see there's a formula up here in the formula bar that is saying where to go look for this information. And so nutrition data is right here. And this is the nutrition information that is in the sheet so far. And so you can see everything is based on 100 grams, the amount of energy, fat, saturated, and so on. All of that has to be entered here. And so the reason there is an NA over here at walnuts is because there are no walnuts listed yet in this nutritional information. So let me take you on a short little journey, and let's jump over to the USDA website, and we're going to look up walnuts. So here is the USDA website, fda.nal.usda.gov, and it's called the Food Central Database. So if we just simply type walnut in here, it'll go and search for that and produce the search results. Now, at first, it's going to look blank because it's looking at foundation foods, which is what you're really not going to be using. You're going to mostly be using legacy foods, which are, the main ingredients and things like that. So if you look under legacy foods, you can see there's all these different walnut information. So you can have walnut oil, English walnuts, glazed, black dried, dry roasted, Quaker instant oatmeal with walnuts, and so on. So we're going to use English walnuts, and we're going to click on that, and you will see per 100 grams all of the information here that we need to transfer over into the spreadsheet. I will do that quickly, and you'll see that complete in just a moment. Okay, so the next piece to show you is that it's important that everything be typed exactly in the template as it is listed in your nutritional information. So in the template, we simply have walnuts. However, in the nutrition data, I entered it in as, it's right here, walnuts, whole, or chopped. So if I don't use the same naming conventions in the template, it won't find it. So I can either edit on the nutritional data side to what I'm going to use most of the time, or I can update my template. I am going to, I'll show you the template once again. You can see everything is NA, all right, not found. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit the name so that it only says walnuts. Okay, actually, I'm going to do walnuts space. I want to show you how critical this is, and enter. So go back to the template. It still shows NA because of that space. So that space will make a difference. So make sure that it is exactly typed the same. So that space has to be removed. And now we type walnuts, and magically all the NAs are gone. But we still have all zeros here, okay? And so we want to say that, well, why is that all zeros? Because we need to put in the unit weight of the muffin. In this case, this is a banana walnut muffin. And they are usually, even though they are sold generally larger than 55 grams, but they are calculated at 55 grams as a serving size, what is referred to as the RACC, the RACC, the reference amount customarily consumed, RACC. So I'm going to put 55 grams in here. That is going to be the 55 grams, and then the moisture loss, and you can see that it is now populating information. Baking soda has no calories, but it does have sodium. And you can see all the other things that are contributing calories and so on per serving. And now let's just look at the white sugar, for example, 13.64 and 10.72 calories. And once I add in that 10% moisture loss, you see those numbers change. They increase because it becomes more concentrated. So this has now calculated that information and summarizes it at the bottom. And down here, there are calculation checks to help you look at various different things that you might be able to do. So for example, if for keto, this would have 22.4 grams of net carbs, because carbs for keto are the total carbohydrates less fiber. It is also checking the omega-3, the dietary fiber, and so on. These are the daily value percentages that are produced as a result of the muffin. And then these are any claims that come up. It checks for claims. So because of the walnuts, we actually hit a claim on omega-3. We can say that this is a high or excellent source of omega-3 from all of the omega-3 oils that are coming from the walnuts. And so this is very handy that way to use to get all of that information and help you make decisions on, well, if I wanted to say that this has a good source of fiber, well, it only has 2 grams of fiber per serving, which is the daily recommended value is 25 grams per 2,000 calorie diet. And it's only meeting 8% of that. 10% would be a good source. So I need to increase my dietary fiber if I want to meet good source. And I could do that by increasing whole wheat flour, adding things like oat fiber or other natural fibers as well to the mix to be able to get my fiber claim up. I hope you found this interesting, and hope you find it useful. Of course, I always recommend before you start entering in data, save your template with a unique name so you always have the original template to go back to for future calculations. And of course, you could put in your banana. walnut muffin. There we go. See, and I have it filled in, so now I could save that. It would give me them. Oh, one more thing I almost forgot is added sugar. In the US, added sugar has to be declared as well, which is, of course, in this case, the white sugar and the brown sugar. If we were adding anything else that was not a whole intrinsic value, for example, there is sugar in the dates and the apple slices, but we're not using apple sugar or date sugar. We're not extracting the sugar. We're using the whole fruit, so we don't have to declare that as added sugar. But it then also calculates for you down here. There is 7 grams of added sugar per serving. It's 14% of the daily recommended value. So you get lots of information from the sheet, and hope you find it helpful to use in your product development process for your baked goods. I'm Mark Floerke, the Baked in Science podcast host for Bakerpedia, and I'm also a baker influencer. Enjoy your Wednesday. Have a great day.